Good evening and welcome to Newswatch. I'm Jordan Broking.
And I'm Linus Dental. On 16 tonight, Times Square New Year's Eve festivities will allow fully vaccinated individuals to attend. This in as Pfizer-BioNTech still deciding on opening booster shot eligibility to all adults, and some states considering broader access.
New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio said earlier today that the celebration will be brought back at full force after a pared-down version last year. Unvaccinated individuals are still able to attend the event if they present a negative COVID-19 test within 72 hours and are masked. And the village of Cayuga Heights in the city of Ithaca was put under lockdown for about 6 hours while police combed the area for an armed suspect last week. Police are armed with rifles and dressed in army fatigues during this search. Both suspects were found and charged with felony possession of a weapon, low-level drug possession, and fleeing from the police. These charges raised concerns from many community members who were in lockdown, as they say it was for a case that isn't as serious as other current crime cases in Ithaca. Sheriff Derek Osborne says although the lockdown was concerning for many residents, there wasn't enough evidence to give any serious charges to these suspects.
The Ithaca Police Department now investigating an assault that took place on the Ithaca Commons on Saturday. The violence broke out at around 1:30 in the morning when two men were attacked by a group of 6. Mild injuries were sustained by the victims and they were taken to a hospital. The assault has been reported as a random act of violence and as the victims and suspects did not know each other. The Ithaca Police Department is asking for community members to reach out with any information they might have on the incident or suspects. And coming up, we have Ori Grady, our Newswatch reporter, who takes us on a journey through the circus season's fall edition to give us an inside look. Let's take a peek.
It is a very brisk day in downtown Ithaca, and we are at Harry H. Truman Marina, where Circus Seasons is showcasing their event. I probably should have worn a hat or something, but lots of people are excited. They're all bundled up, ready to see everything, so why don't we just check it out? Visitors were first greeted by hot cider before they were on their way to the entrance of the circus, where there were a series of acts, ranging from tightrope, music, drumming, juggling, dancing, and weaving, and even a comedian clown, and don't forget, a Chinese dragon. Owner of Circus Culture, Amy Cohen, had a few words to say.
I'm the founder and director of Circus Culture, which is Ithaca's very own circus school. And we also just try to do whatever we can to bring circus out into our community. And given the beauty of the seasons here in Ithaca and the fact that it does get cold, we thought it would be really cool to do one outdoor circus event each season. So this is the final 4th installment of what we're calling Circus Seasons. And it's just an opportunity for people to get outside, see some beautiful art, and collaborate.
The performers enjoy the atmosphere as well.
I'm Shuya. I'm the president of the Cornell Lion Dance Club. We've basically just been parading around and playing with everyone who comes by. A lot of throwing sticks around for children, but it's been a lot of fun and we're really grateful to have this opportunity.
Most importantly, the event showed what makes Ithaca special as a community.
The idea sort of started as like a COVID idea, like we wanted to be able to have something that people could go to during lockdown. And all 4 of them have been along the waterfront trail throughout different parts of it. So it's just you take a walk along the trail, you encounter things as you go, and it's just sort of a fall experience with hot apple cider and a sense of community.
From ICTV Newswatch, I'm Ori Grady.
Thank you, Ori, for that story. Several videos have been found of students engaging in physical fights at Grand Junior Senior High School. These videos were recorded on various forms of social media and include videos of students fighting in restrooms, cafeterias, and locker rooms. Parents who have seen the videos are concerned with the fact that injuries have been sustained, but there was no filed report with the police. School officials acknowledge that fight clubs have been organized by Grand youth inside and outside of school hours. A parent of one of the attacked students filed a report and is organizing a meeting that concerned residents can attend to find a solution to decrease this fighting. And the Finger Lakes couple cut the ribbon this weekend to open a first-of-its-kind business in their Finger Lakes region. Mark and Wendy Carl felt compelled to provide a place for families to grieve and celebrate the lives of their furry friends by opening a pet funeral home. Pet Passages of the Finger Lakes offers family viewings, funeral services with a local pastor, and pet cremation services. The company also offers their own line of pet commemoration jewelry and grave makers. You can find a full list of their services on their website.
Ithaca Mayor Savante Myrick is once again endorsing Zephyr Teachout for New York State Attorney General. Myrick believes that Teachout's platform of clean air, clean government, and fair wages for all is best for the state. Teachout is a law professor at Fordham University and has had several unsuccessful runs for public office in the past. First running for New York State Governor in 2014, then running for New York Attorney General in 2018. Now, this is her second shot at the Attorney General position. And up next, reporter Carolina Sedrashi takes us to Alphabet Soup on the Commons. Let's take a look.
Around the Ithaca Commons since 1984, Alphabet Soup has been a classic store that has brought endless joy to children from all over due to their toys and games that have the ability to be both fun and educational.
It's just, it's the kind of thing you get when care and thought is put into a store and when care and thought are put into toys. I think a lot of people these days understand, what curated selection means. And what that means is, somebody who knows the merchandise or knows the books, has carefully selected ones that are going to be, encouraging and nurturing and show kids, some of the values that you might have and that you want to impart to them.
Despite the idea that running a toy store is easy in the eyes of a customer, it can be very hard and somewhat overwhelming when running a business that is always in high demand of toys all year round. However, Alphabet Soup prevails through these challenges, as they always deliver when placing a smile on the face of a child.
You still have to vacuum and that kind of thing, but especially since being the owner, I do feel very excited to be part of it, very excited to be keeping it going and being a part of the community that way. At first it can be very overwhelming. Everything is bright and colorful and that kind of thing. It's especially right now getting ready for Christmas. But again, once you're used to it, you're just like, oh yeah, that's the usual. That's what I see every day.
As COVID-19 had an effect on several small businesses in the Ithaca area, Alphabet Soup looked to push past the limitations of their business, despite being initially threatened by the pandemic.
One of the things I had done when I bought the store was I was like, we need to get our website in shape. We need to up our game. We need to get on social media and all that. And I feel like we had all those tools ready. So when the pandemic hit and people were like, oh, hey, do you have a website? I'm like, why, yes, we do. We've been developing it for a year and nobody's used it yet. So it was finally fun to launch our website and get it out there and people using it. So we did a lot of online orders. We did curbside pickup. I did deliveries. I was a delivery driver for a good chunk of the year last year. A lot of people were buying things that would keep the kids busy, because kids were out of school. So puzzles, board games, crafts, science projects, any toy you could play outside in the yard. Our store really reflects, the local values and the Ithaca values. And, and I like to think it's a fun place where people can just kind of come hang out, have a fun day on the Commons. We're not going to bother you if you just want to browse or that kind of thing. And again, that we really try and have quality toys. So, whatever you get for whatever price point, it's not just going to break the first time your kid takes it out of the box.
For Newswatch Thursday in the Ithaca Commons, I'm Carolina Sedrashi.
Thank you for that story, Carolina. The city of Ithaca received a solar power proposal that gets them one step closer to reaching their goal of decarbonizing the city by 2030. Nexamp, a Boston-based company, has proposed a 25-acre solar plant behind the Walmart shopping center. The company would sell the energy, which they say can power about 4,000 homes in Ithaca, back to the city for use. The Planning and Economic Development Committee is considering this opportunity and expects a full proposal by January. And coming up after a break, we have national headlines from across the country, including the latest from Pfizer and BioNTech, Biden's public safety executive order, and the Colorado school shooting. Stick with us. Welcome back to Newswatch. Today, Pfizer made an agreement with a group backed by the United Nations to give other companies the ability to manufacture their experimental COVID-19 pill. This as the company just asked the FDA for emergency authorization of the pill. However, the license to generically produce the medication would exclude some larger nations, such as Brazil, which suffered massive surges in COVID-19 cases. Pfizer said their pill is 90% effective against hospitalization and death for those with mild or moderate COVID-19 symptoms. Although the pill is still experimental, health officials are hopeful that by producing the pill generically, the pandemic can end sooner.
And President Biden has signed an executive order to address crime and human trafficking on Native American lands. It He would ask Homeland Security and Interior departments to build strategies that would reduce crime rates on reservations, currently at twice the national average. Their plans will involve training programs for federal agents and better use of Amber Alert programs. The president's administration has also announced they will ban oil drilling in Chaco Canyon, a Native American site in New Mexico. Biden has named October 11th Indigenous Peoples Day and promises to continue his efforts of protecting Native American land. And up next, our reporter Hannah Sanson breaks down the Astroworld tragedy. Hannah?
Just over a week after the crowd surge that occurred at the Astroworld Music Festival, headlined and organized by Travis Scott, the death toll is up to 10 people, with 2 victims having died after fighting for their lives in the hospital following injuries from the festival. The event reached capacity at 50,000 and some concertgoers felt encouraged to surge the stage, resulting in several injuries and people being crushed to death.
Oh, definitely was traumatizing. I've never been in such chaos.
Scott continued to play for around 30 minutes after the event was declared a mass casualty event. 9-year-old Ezra Blount is among those who have died after being on life support following being trampled at the festival.
Just the fact that I was breathing the same air that some people took their last breaths is just not even real.
There are now more than 90 lawsuits related to the event against Travis Scott, companies that have organized the event.
Will not let them get away with this. There will be accountability, and we're going to make them have changes in the industry.
I'm honestly just devastated.
Travis Scott has released a statement about the event and will be issuing refunds.
Thanks, Hannah. Turning back to national news, where COVID-19 booster shots are becoming more accessible as states initiate their own policies without FDA approval. Colorado and New Mexico said their states are too high risk to be putting barriers for their residents to receive the booster shot. These states are not alone with their decisions, as many other states and cities around the country have eliminated certain guidelines to getting the shot. New York City officials have told vaccine providers in the area they should not turn away any adult seeking a booster dose. Additionally, governors in West Virginia and New Jersey are telling the residents to get the 3rd dose. As a result, President Biden's team has called for more booster shot doses to be manufactured without the FDA and CDC's go-ahead. And now we have sports anchor Casey Honigbaum here in studio with a sneak peek into what we can expect from him later on. Casey, what's going on?
Yeah, well, coming up later on tonight, the Bombers are taking home some Liberty League hardware. We're going to see who won that and a whole lot more later on Newswatch Sports.
Thanks, Casey. Looking forward to it. Now to some news on a recent shooting that took place yesterday. 6 teenagers were injured after a shooting near a high school in Colorado. Shots were fired at Nome Park in the afternoon, just across the street from Aurora Central High School, which more than 2,000 teenagers attend. Police found shell casings originating from multiple firearms and believe the shooters were both on foot and in a vehicle. There are multiple suspects the police are investigating, but no one has been taken into custody at this time. In other news, understaffed and overfilled warehouses across the country are feeling the strain of America's consumption habits. As consumption slowed to a halt during early lockdowns in the COVID-19 pandemic, products continued to enter warehouses without them leaving. This has led to a buildup of merchandise, with warehouses at almost 99% capacity. Staffing issues within warehouses and the inability to transport goods have only made matters worse. So far, the solution to the problem remains unclear.
Pilot Kenneth Daniel Yacht and passenger Corbin Dennis Kennedy were found dead yesterday afternoon after their plane crashed. The plane was recovered in a wooded area in Boyne City, Michigan. This is the second fatal crash in 3 days, as there are now 6 fatalities in the northern Michigan area. The cause of the crash is unclear, but the Federal Aviation Administration and the National Transportation Safety Board are currently investigating. And earlier today, the jury in the Kyle Rittenhouse murder trial began deliberations after hearing contrasting testimonies about his character. Against procedure, Judge Bruce Schroeder allowed Rittenhouse to draw 12 names from a pool of 18 jurors. Those 12 jurors will now decide his fate. If he is convicted, Rittenhouse could potentially spend life in prison for the murder of 2 men and wounding a third. Rittenhouse testified that he acted in self-defense, whereas prosecutors countered that, saying he instigated bloodshed. And after the break, we have Lucy Calderon in studio with your 7-day forecast. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Newswatch. This past week, we saw a mix of snow and rain here in Tompkins County, but the question on everyone's mind is it here to stay? Here to tell us more is Lucy Calderon. Lucy, how's it looking outside?
Thank you, Linus. Yes, you are right. The weather has been crazy, and the answer to your question is we still don't know. It's going to continue to be rocky. I don't know when it'll get consistent. For example, today was beautiful. The sun was out. There were a few clouds, and it felt a little warm because there was so much sun. But now we're transitioning into, as you can see, a chilly night with temperatures below freezing in the high 20s and a few clouds here and there. So still somewhat clear from the day, but the temperature is surely dropping, which takes us into tomorrow's forecast. Moving into Wednesday, we see it does get a little warmer, so it bounces back from this evening, and we see temperatures of a high in the low 50s and a low in the high 40s. So surprisingly, tomorrow's weather will be pretty consistent in terms of temperatures, but it will be cloudy with intervals of clouds and sunshine here and there. So we still don't really know how tomorrow will look, which takes us into our 7-day forecast, which looks similar in terms of uncertainty. Okay, as we can see, for this week, Thursday, surprisingly, there will be some rain. We see temperatures somewhat similar with a high in the high 50s and a low in the low 30s. So the high goes up and the low goes down slightly, but there will be rain on and off all day, something that we were not expecting a few hours ago. That rain will stop on Thursday and then transition into just a mostly cloudy day on Friday with extremely lower temperatures of a low in the low 40s, a high in the low 40s and a low in the borderline 30s. The clouds will stay and the sun will go for Saturday for just a cloudy day that's a little warmer, surprisingly, making the weekend a little better. Depends on how you see it when it comes to sun. On Sunday, the sun comes back a little bit with some intervals of clouds and sunshine here and there. Temperatures go up slightly with highs in the high 40s instead of the mid 40s and a low slightly 2 degrees higher moving into the high 30s. But then the rain comes back on Monday for a rainy start to the week. Rain showers here and there. It's said that it's supposed to reach about 1/4 of an inch, so definitely wear a raincoat and expect rain on Monday. And then we see a wintry mix on Tuesday. Some rain here and there, some sun here and there, some snow here and there, and the temperatures will be fluctuating but staying cold. If it's going to stay that way for the rest of the winter, I do not know, because just like weather in general, it is so unpredictable, Linus, and it changes all the time. But that's all I have for you. I will see you 2 weeks from now for Thanksgiving. I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving and a great break. Enjoy the weather, be prepared, and I'll throw it back to the desk. Back to you, Linus and Jordan.
All right, thank you, Lucy. And coming up after a break, we have Casey Hohenbaum in studio with everything going on in the world of sports. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Newswatch Sports. I'm Casey Hohenbaum. The Bombers received some consolation this week. I'm sure they'd rather the playoffs, but recognition is due for the football team's fantastic season. A total of 15 Bombers were named All-Liberty League, 8 on the first team, 4 on the second team, and 3 honorable mentions. On the offensive side of the ball, the Bombers were led by quarterback A.J. Wingfield, wide receiver Andrew Vito, and offensive tackle Jake Villanueva. Antonio Valli, Ed Longus, Miles Haynes, and Anthony Robinson highlighted the Bombers on the defensive side of the ball as they all earned first-team honors. The second-team honors were highlighted by Jalen Hines, who, along with the All-Liberty League nod, earned Liberty League Rookie of the Year. And last but not least, on special teams, who else but Nick Bamunde earning first-team All-Liberty League, along with Special Teams Player of the Year for a second straight season. The volleyball team also took home some Liberty League awards, as well as a trio of Bombers earned all AVCA regional honors. Jordan Lynn Hayashi and Jamie Koopman were each named to the 2021 Volleyball Coaches Division III Region 3 first team, while senior Jalen Hirschberger was named to the honorable mention team. Hayashi was a defensive standout this year, racking up 21 service aces, had the second most digs in the Liberty League and averaged 4.83 digs per set. Koopman stood out as well. She totaled 227 kills for a 297 kill percentage, as well as her strong net presence for the Bombers. She had 79 combined blocks this season. And over on the East Hill, the Cornell men's basketball team is back in action as they look to close they're close to their best start, rather, in over a quarter century. The Big Red currently sit at 2-0 on the year as they welcome in Colgate tonight, and they'll look to improve to 3-0 for the first time since 1996. The matchup comes with some fun off the court as well, though. Head coach Brian Earl will coach against Matt Langle, who is not only Colgate's head coach, but Earl's best friend from their younger years. It'll be the first time the two faced off since they found themselves on opposite sides of the Princeton-Penn rivalry in college. Now, let's move into some baseball here. The MLB season ended just a few weeks ago, but we're starting to see that hot stove heat up a little bit. This morning, the first few major deals were announced. The Toronto Blue Jays wasted no time extending their ace for the future, Jose Barrios. They signed him to a 7-year, $131 million extension. This bolsters the rotation already filled out with the likes of Hyunjin Ryu and Nate Pearson. And meanwhile, every year we talk about how the Angels, if they could get some pitching, they might just contend, and they added a major piece of that puzzle this morning. They inked right-hander Noah Syndergaard to a 1-year, $21 million a year deal. The move was a slight surprise, honestly. Syndergaard expressed his desire to stay put in New York, but ultimately it seems like that Angels offer was just too good to pass up. Jordan, I don't mean to make you sad by bringing this up. We've got Jacob deGrom as the only person left from that 2015 World Series team. How's that make you feel?
I don't know if it makes me sad, really, but just a lot of other emotions that I frankly cannot say on camera. So, thank you so much for all that, Casey. Now, next week here at Newswatch, we won't be here to deliver you the news due to our Thanksgiving break. But speaking of Thanksgiving, Reese's Thanksgiving Pie sold out within the first few hours of it being on sale. Yesterday, Reese's announced that the 9-inch giant peanut butter cup is no longer being sold due to demand. The pie is a whopping 3.4 pounds, and only 3,000 pies were for sale at $44.99 a piece. Although the pie is sold out, Reese's is offering other holiday items on their website. Doesn't that sound cool?
That sounds great. Looking forward to Thanksgiving like you can't believe. Anyway, that's all we have for you tonight here on Newswatch.
Tune in this Thursday for more with Dan Richardson and Riley Guerin, and be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at ICTV607. Thanks for watching and have a good night.